In September, I'll have completed 30 years here. I'll be 55, and I do have other goals that I want to achieve, and that would be a good time to start that. When I came on 30 years ago when I was 25, I made up my mind at that point that I was going to finish here if at all possible, and that's what happened.
You came on at 25.
Yes.
Any idea that you would eventually be the chief of police in Bennington someday? And did you have that ambition?
No, my ambition at age 25 was to become a detective, which I achieved 6 years later. And that was as far forward as I was thinking at that time. Eventually, later on, after I'd been in BCI for a while, I began entertaining the potential. But I was still surprised when I was actually chosen.
Right.
And I look at it at various stages of my career. Some of the highlights have been an ability to help people out that desperately needed it at the time. Abused and neglected children, people who were badly victimized, assaulted, helping them out. And then as I kind of progressed from there into this position, certainly some of the highlights have been being able to help the department go from where it was in '98 to where it is now with regards to training, equipment, professionalism, and all the other things that we enjoy now. That's certainly, I point to that with some pride at the same time that I say I did not get there alone. Clearly, I have what I consider to be a superior staff and a superior supervisory staff. Certainly, this is a team effort. So, for me to say yes, I dragged this department up by me, but no, we are where we are because we have all worked together and done it well. Some of the lowlights probably would have to do more with those people I was unable to help, or situations that I was not able to have a positive influence on. And again, I don't want to necessarily get into specifics because that might dredge up memories for the people that would know what I'm talking about. But that would certainly be the low lights. And they would actually, I haven't had any real low experiences as a police chief. My experiences as a chief, with the exception of the odd personnel issue here and there, have been uniformly pretty good. There have been a couple of isolated instances here and there that I'd say to myself, why did I ever take this position? But that's the sort of thing that goes away after the initial.
Yeah. What does it take to be the chief of police in Bennington?
With regards to
skills, personality. I mean,
well,
what
you have to be able to deal with an exceedingly diverse group of people. I can't think of another town, department, or agency that deals with as many different people under as many different circumstances as a police department does. And very often the police department is kind of a linchpin of other efforts for improvement. We partner up with non-law enforcement agencies. So as a police chief, you need to liaison quite a bit. And you need to kind of determine what role your department should play in a number of things. And that's outside. And you have to deal with the public's concerns about various types of crimes. And believe it or not, sometimes surprisingly, the public gets much more irate about quality of life offenses than they do about other types of crimes. But that's kind of universal too. That's not unique to Bennington. In fact, I tell people that there's two erroneous statements that I always hear about Bennington. The first one is that this is Bennington, it can only happen here. And the other one is this is Bennington, it can't happen here. Neither one of those is true. So it's kind of a universal experience for law enforcement that we deal with that. A police chief needs to be able to address stressful situations, critical situations, as calmly as possible, and that includes internal as well as external issues. You need to stay on top of developments not only in law enforcement but law enforcement management and administration. degrees and constant training help with that. But overall, it's the exercise of patience, common sense, and this I learned from Dave Wooden. He articulated all the time. As your personal guiding principle, make the decision that's in the best interest of the department. So that's always something. Have I done that 100% of the time? No. But is that as a working principle very valid? Absolutely. The one thing I made, the statement I made during my first department meeting in '98 was the bar has been raised. And that's been our overarching theme. The bar has been raised. We seek constant improvement in professionalism. We seek constant improvement in training. We seek constant improvement in performance. And that's kind of how you set the goal and then you tailor your objectives and work plans to, that's been the goal. So everything that we do targets constant improvement. And I think that that's served us well as an agency. We expect the best out of our people, and that's exactly what we got.
So you see that sort of being your legacy as chief, the constant improvement in terms of equipment and officers,
training,
and,
performance, equipment. Absolutely. I hope that if I leave anything here, it's that continuous quest to improve all the time. Improve yourself educationally, improve your performance as an officer, improve your training, all the time. Never be satisfied to kind of be stagnant.
Right. Well, how many employees are under you at this